can never get it the way you want it when you're kind of caught with your pants down. So, okay. Until I can afford an official shrine to St. Bob, we are starting off tonight's stream. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Welcome to TableBreakers. We're going to be talking about a few different things tonight. My name is Bruce. This is my channel, and this is my fun mane of hair. And if you believe that, I do have a bridge for sale. Talk to me in the DMs. All right, so this evening we're kind of coming up at a Q1 look at the games industry of 2022. We're going to talk a little bit about having parallel campaigns at the same time. Some call those West Marches. Other people just say, I'm running a side campaign in addition to the main campaign. Would any of you want to join? So anyway, as I'm going on and on about this, I really should be bringing in the fine gentlemen that accompany me every Thursday. Please welcome our friend, the Cigar DM. Please welcome our friend, Kai. Please welcome our friend, Jade. Get up there, Kai. Okay. So, hail, chat. Travis J, 1975. Thank you for showing up early or on time, however you may look at it. Ominal is looking for combs. Thank you. Shadow and Sun, welcome to the chat, my friend. And Manowar, 665, neighbor of the beast. Hail, amigo. Cigar DM, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Got myself a good beer, an oatmeal stout. I'm going to leave the title out of it. I got myself a decent cigar, I hope. And I'm talking to these three fine, as I say, let's say this loosely, gentlemen.
Well, no, gentlemen is actually a distinguished term.
That's why I'm saying it loosely.
Yes. Kai, how are you doing, sir?
The sun hasn't killed me yet. I'm doing okay.
You know, I understand when you have yard work in the month of May through the month of September, it tries every opportunity it can.
Well, also driving in a truck where the AC compressor goes out, and you gotta go finish run. So yeah.
You and I have a job very similar to each other. I'm dropping a little bit of weight, not as much as I'd like, but a little bit. Jade, how you doing, man?
Well, you know, things could be better. They could also be a lot worse. But I'm hanging in there.
That. I appreciate that bit of honesty, man. And I understand, know what's going on. If you guys want to do me a small favor, Jade's family is going through a bit of a harder time than usual. So if you believe in prayers, or if you like little moments of silence or positive thinking, if you could lend those to his family here over the next couple of weeks, that'd be great. And give while you're at it, hope for Jade to have patience and restraint, and most importantly, you know, while he's a man of great strength and conviction, he needs peace. A man of great peace is actually a deadly warrior. It's a person who's not choking the shit out of somebody who desperately deserves it. So I'm going to hope that spirit of peace comes over Jade. Not trying to put any personal business out there, man, but I'm just trying to generate some good feels for you.
I appreciate it.
You know, on a side topic, the whole rage and peace thing. There's a band called Five Finger Death Punch. I really enjoy some of their music, but there's a line in one of their songs that says "finding peace after rage," and I'm listening to it. I'm like, "Finding peace after rage? What's that?" I mean, I know what rage is, but what's this peace stuff you're talking about?
It's what you do between years whenever you're going to Ragnarok.
Yes.
There you go.
CBK Ply, how you doing, sir? So my thing, we kind of discussed this before, towards the start of our run doing table breakers, and it was about having a parallel campaign or like a West Marches style campaign. You're running your main game, and you've got your players lined up on their sandbox or their little choo-choo train of adventure modules they're going to run, or whatever you do, however you set this up, but you are putting together a really badass campaign. But you're looking at it after a night of just epiphanies or hard drinking or maybe some really good self-study, and for one moment you think, it'd be really cool if the players, or if some of the players wanted to get a different perspective of the world, if they wanted to see the world from a different angle. And that's when you start up either a evil campaign or a mercenary faction campaign, and you just let the players that do get recruited, you just kind of let them go wherever they want to on the morality chart. Key is you got to work together. If you don't work together, you don't get paid together. So you let them have an opportunity where you have strict out of character knowledge penalties in play, and I mean strict. If you guys play on out of character knowledge, your main character probably will die in the next campaign. It will be an act of fate. One of the gods will launch a spear at you. You will die. So be a good player. Be mindful of out of character knowledge and keep it out of your current gameplay. Thank you. So you do that. So now, while the players are adventuring after, trying to slaughter the aspect of Tiamat, maybe you decide that maybe the players should be playing a group of kobolds and trying to spelunk through a nasty dungeon to find an old set of draconic bones to fashion an artifact out of, or some such. And so you give them 3 to 7 nights as playing these kobolds or other adventurers, putting together something that it's just a small little campaign, maybe 7 adventures tops, and they really don't affect the main game until they're finished. And they walk into the Iron Fortress, and they hand over the goods, and they get paid, and then the kobolds go back to their normal lives of sitting on eggs and making traps for fun and profit. Shadow and Sun, we're doing pretty good. Baron G Rock, hey man, we're sending you some positive thoughts right now. We didn't really want to make mention of that. If you want to, you may. But we know you're going through some things right now. That's why you're dealing with them. You're off camera. If you wish to come in, you know where to find the link. We understand you're busy. But you have this campaign, and it's a tight little narrative. It's just a side series of adventures. But now the players will know of the things that you're arming, or one of the things you're arming the big bad with. And so you give them a reason to have serious pause, because they might actually want to play with out of character knowledge. You penalize them if they do, but if they go into a battle knowing the recipe for an artifact, probably not a good idea. But at least make them go and get stuff along the side to help out the big bad. Wow. Wow, Garrett.
Wow.
Garrett, I wish I knew what the VA treated my kidneys with when I was on vancomycin. If you can retain that, that might be something you could throw at the doctors. I don't know if the insurance would allow it, so that was something that they had to treat me with. Otherwise, my kidneys would have rotted. So you give your players these options to where they get a deeper narrative of the game. Maybe they get to see an aspect of your creativity or your mastery of the English language as you allow the characters to spelunk through a cavernous bits of mountain that they've seen from the outside, albeit miles away. It's a staggering sight. Ominel, you say so insurance stuff doesn't stop treatment? Yeah, when I was dealing with the Wu flu, they wouldn't give me ivermectin or Regeneron. We couldn't have that option where I was being treated for that. So that's why I was saying that. The insurance would not cover those items. It really upset me a lot, and now I've got a new focus in life, like a Dark Sun dwarf focus. Anyway, exactly. We hope she recovers quickly and can get back on her feet, being the usual person. True. So, I was thinking about this. This is one of the topics I wanted to discuss, and I like going back to this topic because I think during everybody's DMing career, you have an idea where you want to run a super adventure where the players are just one small cog in this machine, and eventually the cogs run into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into that deeper, before I go into that deeper, I'm going to pass this over to Cigar DM.
All
Baron
right.
will give you a rant in a little bit. Cigar DM, what do you think about this?
I think it's a great idea. I like a concept, especially if it's homebrew or you're using an IP that you actually know well enough for to be able to pull that hat trick off. Just to the players, not the characters, but the players are just now getting comfortable with your world. They think they know what they need to know. Then you bring up an option to a few of them, like, hey, I got a B track that I'm going to run with this. What do you guys think? And if they go with it, it can create a really, really good game. I've done this before a while ago when I was living in Peoria when I was first married, and the Game of Thrones series just came out. I'm like, wow, I could run this from both sides. I can have the party that roll up two different characters, one for working the wall, and the other one's working the Seven Kingdoms, and see how this works out. Trying to stop the walkers from taking over Westraw. So it was really neat. I wish I could have finished it because my ending would not sucked as much balls as HBO's, but that's just my opinion.
We understand. The HBO ending was not the ending we deserved.
No.
Jade, are you available?
I am.
I would like to hear what you would think about something like this, because while we've talked about this before, I don't think you really talked about it at length much.
So, I have run a campaign, set the Wayback Machine to, 8 years ago, maybe now. It's been a while, but I ran a campaign. I name. I'm one of those weird GMs. I name every campaign or every story I run, and I was running something called Two Worlds, One Home, where the campaign was set up in such a way that the players were from one world, and then they crossed through the barrier into another world very similar to their own, but where a coin flip could be the difference between the worlds. Someone might be a female in one world, male in the other world. Someone may not even be born in the other world. So they were going through this hellscape of a world where the coin flip was a deciding factor from the previous game that I had run 10 years previous timeline. So they're in the, going through this hellscape, trying to figure out how to get it back onto, more on the side of the indigenous peoples rather than the demons and hellspawn. So they eventually get to a pirate city, and I was using kind of a blending of like Iron Kingdoms and something else, but I was using the Iron Kingdoms Port of Five Fingers as a destination. So the main characters get into the city. Then I'm like, okay, we're gonna pause here for a bit. Your characters are all, trying to figure out, who to get in contact with, to get supplies and shipments, and to be able to move things from one area to the other. Do the whole smugglers run thing. And then I had them gen up pirate characters who live on these islands. And they were running for a entirely different pirate captain, or one of the 5 captains. And I think they had a lot of fun. It's been a while, and I can't remember everything, all the details. But they were... What's the VOD? So they were working for one of the other pirate captains without truly realizing it, against the player characters. So when they burst into the scene, into the room, I kind of catch them up with their characters and what they were doing, what their main characters are doing. So now both sets of characters are in the same room, and they kind of have to fight each other or figure out a way forward. Some of them decided to switch sides. Some of them didn't. Some of them ended up dead. And some of them were like, you know what? I'm tired of playing that character. I want to play that character now. And it was actually a really good time, I think. But again, it's been a few years, and I don't remember everyone's input on it.
Okay. Kai, I was avoiding you only for the fact that you've talked about this before, and you've not rambled on it, but you've kind of outlined how you do it. And I think you teach a lot of people when you get going. So I'm going to tell everybody to put your seatbelts on, and I'm going to let Kai take the floor.
Okay, so yes, I do. This is kind of a caveat back to generational campaigns. Also, I will also call old players up and go, hey, because I'm not going to let the current players, people at my table, get to have a side story because they're already the main characters in the story. After all, think about it like this. When you read a good book series that isn't just focused on one major uber character, you always have a sense of, well, there's X character. Hell, to go use the Cigar GM's thing of Game of Thrones. Was there one main character in that series? Was there one main group of characters? No, there wasn't. The story follows 4, 5, 6, countless different groups that are all doing their own thing. So you should probably abuse your players in the same way. After all, we all have friends that we can't game with. I mean, sure, we have. If you're a gamer, how many of us go, man, if only I could just run a game with you, because it would be so much fun to play a game with you. You know that. That'd be awesome. But I only have 6 people at my table, and I can't have 12 people. Who says you can't have 12 people? You have your 6 at the table, but you also go, hey, you 6 want to be on my brainstorming side adventure team where you're all having a plan? Or if you know you got 6 diabolical people who hate each other and want to just kill each other mercilessly, you go, here's a side quest. Find and kill the other 5 people. And because you want X reward. Well, what is the X reward? A scroll that grants wishes. How often? Once a week. We'll all murder planets for that. Good. Now start murdering. And then watch those 6 people start burning down half of the entire world because they want to win. And then you have your hero. their heroes, the people who are actually at the table, the adventurers, watching 6 demigods beat the living snot out of each other. And at this point, they're writing the 6 people who are playing Murder Hobo 5000 for a Wish, are writing my storyline for me. So I have a storyline. These 6 idiots are writing their own storyline. And the world's burning, and I'm loving this because I don't have to come up with anything anymore, and my players just gotta go, and my table group of players go, holy hell, what are we caught up in? Also, if you take notes, really good notes, from like all of your previous campaigns, this is why a campaign that is played in the same world, don't fall into this trap of, well, that campaign's ended. Well, I'm going to reset the game back to what is it? What's the term from Star Wars for after Battle of Yavin? Oh yeah, and it's like, oh hey, now that the adventures start, now that this group of players is done, I'm going to go back to ABY1, and we're going to play this all over again, and nothing has changed. You've done nothing. Play the continuous world, and now suddenly, every once in a while, your young players, we're having fun, and all of a sudden you walk into an old players thing, and you're like, hey, old player, yeah, new group is screwing with your stuff. What do you want to do? Beat them up? Well, of course, they're taking my stuff. Stop them. Design a dungeon that you would build. It's in your budget and themed it to you. Build your murder fest, and then let the adventurers try to outsmart you. And at this point, I'm using the fact that I have friends, lots of friends, and going, you want in on this? Yeah. Give me what you got. And then suddenly you come up with and players, and now you got players that you have taken off the chain. Because when you sit at a table, you're playing this, you are having to play this nice little game of Mother May I bullshit, where GM, may I have some fun? May I do something interesting? Well, no. Think of your fellow players. And now we got a veteran player whose reward for having endured all of my abuse is to go, now it's your turn. Now beat the snot out of the next guy, the next group of people, and them. This sounds like a great idea. Go. Do it. Show me what you can do. And do I get to actually roll the dice? No. I do all the hard, actual, real work. You do all the creative work. But just remember, stay in theme, stay in character. Here's your budget. Or if you've been taking notes yourself, you should know what your budget is anyway. Yeah, I do. Now, build me an encounter while I go run for these guys. And then 3 weeks later, all right, guys, congratulations. You walked into what you think is this fortress. Yeah, it sounds really great. And by now, I've got all the notes saying this is what the fortress looks like. This is what's in it. I've been setting up the whole thing. They walk into it, and now it's no longer my dungeon. I'm just the referee who's going, and now you guys have to outsmart an old player who doesn't like you, who doesn't even know who you are. They just designed the murder fest. It's going to kill you all. Can you outsmart not me? Because I might have mercy on you because I'm your friend and I like you. But luckily, the people who I talk to don't know you, don't like you, and don't care if you live. Good luck. And push them out the door.
That sounds great.
I kind of want to go along with that thought, what Kai just said, because in one of Drade's campaign, I made a gunslinger that I'm really, really fond of, and I would love a second go at that character, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not to rebuild him, just to upgrade him, see where I did wrong and fix the odds and ends that I was off on. But, Jade mentioned a couple streams ago that one of his prized guns that are holy artifacts has been tainted. And I know that I most likely won't be able to redeem that gun by making a character that redeem that, and that bugs the ever-living fuck out of me. So me as an old player in Jade's campaigns, because Jade does really good campaigns, and I generally know the way he's thinking when it's a homebrew. So I would love to like, hey, Connell, would you mind doing this, this, and this? Sort of like what Kai says. I got these new fuckers that I want you to fuck with. Oh, tag me in. Yes, sir. Let me know where I can buy the tickets to this shit show because it's going to be a 3-ring shit circus for your players.
And that's what it should be. Like, honestly, it should be a reward for players having endured all of you, having invested energy, time, and effort into their characters. They should get the reward of actually getting to. If something comes around and kicks their door in, they should have the ability to go, Smithers, release the hounds. Yes, sir. And release the hounds on them. And your players, Blade would never kick our teeth in. You're right. I won't, but he will.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that character is 0-level divinity. He's still around. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's still around.
I've only had one chance where I actually had a chance to call the player up and put him on a voice call, streamed him live into it, and be like, no, players, you talk, he reacts, and so I had him on mute. He couldn't actually see, but he was listening the entire time, going, "All right, I can do this," and it was kind of fun watching a player typing out for me to listen to him telling me how to kill them, and I'm like, they earned this. This player earned this. These players have earned this. And yeah, for being so arrogant and saying, oh, it's just an old PC. They would never do anything bad to. You don't realize how evil fellow players are to other players. Good luck.
By the way, my name is the Cigar DM. If you got an extra 100 pounds of dead weight at your table, call me. I can remove.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay. Some good ideas. Jay, do you have anything followed up with?
I was going to caveat off of Connell, but it's not really related. So I mean, yeah, nothing really to add to the topic at hand.
When has that ever stopped us?
No, the whole the first true gunslinger in that game world, who did become a saint and gain 0-level divinity and immortality, which in a lot of ways was a curse because he was already cursed with near immortality. No, I still run the same game world as I have been for many 20 plus years now. And I try to take everything that the players did in those games and carry them forward. This is that whole generational game concept that we talked about a while back now. But I'm constantly running side stories in that same game during some of the same time periods, or maybe slightly advanced time periods. So I do use this concept, this kind of West March concept, a little bit here and there, but I've only ever truly done it once with the Pirate City, where the players are running at the same exact time as their other characters. I don't think I've ever done it besides that game.
No, I know which campaign you're talking about, and it was fun. I mean, if I had more time and we weren't about ready to move for my ex-wife's colleges, I was thinking about having you guys roll up at least 2 more characters. So you would have been playing. No, I would have kept it at 3 different characters in that one world. And I don't know how I would have made that work, but with the way that they do Game of Thrones, at least the way George R.R. Martin wrote Game of Thrones, in my point of view, for a campaigns type side, if you got a willing group of people, they could run. I think running 3 characters is probably enough. Asking them any more than that, that's dedication, and they have to be up for it.
I mean, any more than that, and they're a DM.
Yeah, so you would have done, I would have done on the wall.
Any more than that, and their seat is our seat. They're doing
Right.
exactly what we're doing.
Because, yeah, I would have had you guys run the wildlings trying to escape the whites, the guards trying to keep the wildlings out of Westeros, and you guys in the Westeros trying to prepare the rest of the kingdom, 7 kingdoms for the whites. It would have been a correlation of all different points of it. But yeah.
I'm glad to hear we are talking about this. This is one of my favorite topics we've done before, and I think it's pretty important that we talk about it again. What do you think there, Jade?
About what specifically?
Think this is a good topic that we need to recover on this channel?
Any other topics, or this topic specifically?
This topic in specifics.
Okay. I guess. I mean, it really. Any game you run can be this West March or side story kind of campaign setting, where you've got multiple players going through the game world, doing unique things to that group. But also being able to see the consequences of other groups or actions of other groups in play. Any game can do this, but it requires a hell of a lot of work on the game master, because the game master has to take notes not only of what Group A is doing, but also what Group B or C, or if they're a truly madman, Group D and E. No offense to those madmen. The people who can keep all that stuff straight. Kudos to you. But I mean, if you want to start employing that in your games, you have to feel out the groups of players who want to, who are willing to do multiple characters, or who can say, yeah, I can throw in on some time and screw around in the world and really screw with your players and get them thinking in opposite directions, or whatever other directions. But I mean, it really comes down to the DM taking really great notes.
Yeah, I mean, that Game of Thrones one, I knew the first 4 books back and forth. It's like me running a Dresden File campaign. I know the book so well, I could probably do it, but I still have to keep notes to see where you guys left off, where side B left off, and how the two are, working with each other. I'm trying to get. I just saw Chazar's comment. If he's asking if you have a DM that wants to be a PC in his game, is that what he's asking?
Because of the misfortune, the DM doesn't want to.
Yes, it's a terrible idea. God, it's terrible.
I've done it a couple different times. If I like at my table, I like at least to have 4 or 5 people at my table. And, if I can only get 4, or if I'm running for my kids, especially if I'm running for my kids, I will throw in a cleric or some kind of NPC just to help them along. Because, I'm not going to punish my players because I can't get an extra person at my table. But that NPC that I'm playing in the party is going to be relatively useless unless set for support.
So, see, that's actually not what he was kind of shooting for. At least from how I was reading it. I was reading out the idea that you have multiple GMs kind of working at this, and they're kind of like, well, I get to play too, right? Yeah, and at that point, the GM who swaps in gets to go, well, I'm going to give some favoritism to this other person, and it's going to be, or I'm going to set it up so that way I ensure that group 2 gives me what, and it opens up the gateway to corruption and a little bit of unfairness that ultimately eats at it. So this is why you really just can't have that. You need to have one person whose job is, I'm sorry to say it, if you want to run a campaign like that, you don't get to play. You don't get to play a character. You don't get to have any fun. You're just going to have to be the arbitrator. You have to be neutral. The moment you start being able to go, but I want to have fun too, you stop being neutral. You stop being a fair judge. You have to, and at that point, the game will fall apart because, well, of course my character has all the best gear. Of course I've rigged it so that way. And of course the other GM's going to let me get away with shit because I'm letting him get away with shit. And the two of you just kind of go back and forth. And your poor, sad sack other players who don't get to be GMs go, well, do we get to have anything cool? No, you ain't giving me kickbacks. Well, fuck this game. Well, fuck both these games. Bye.
That's that is an inherent problem with multiple GMs at in one game world. If the game master is a player in for one game master and he is the game master of yet another game master, all within the same world, favoritism is a real problem. But how do you not play favorites with the game masters? Because, if I scratch your back, you scratch my back. If I give you sweet items, you give me sweet items. It is a vicious cycle, but there has to be an agreement worked out between all game masters ahead of time, being like, hey, look, if you're going to be a player in my table, you are going to get exactly what the loot table rolls or what is already pre-planned. I am not going to play favorites, and I don't expect people to play favorites with me. That has to be an understanding, and it has to be followed. That has to be a strict guideline of basically a DM's code, if you will, to never allow favoritism to come out in Westmarch style games. Can a DM be a player in a Westmarch game? Absolutely. I think they can. But they have to adhere to that code of, the dice roll as the dice roll. There's not going to be favoritism. I'm not going to fudge dice rolls just because you're the game master for me. I expect you not to fudge dice rolls because I'm the game master for you. That's kind of one of those things, If it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. If your character dies, your character dies. Guess what? You get to make a new character. That's how the dice roll. So I kind of disagree with you on that, Kai, but I have to say I disagree with a caveat. The game masters have to all follow the same code of ethics, so to say, because the DMs are kind of relied upon to keep things fair between players and the rules. They're there to be a judge. Can they be impartial as a judge and a player? Maybe, but it takes effort, and it takes someone who's going to set aside their game master hat for their player hat and never combine the two. You take notes as a player. That's what your player character knows. You take notes as a DM, unless the two notes happen to be on the same, exactly the same for the same setting, you don't know what the other person knows. You don't have that knowledge. So yeah, and you're absolutely right. The dice don't care about your feelings. So I say yes, a DM can be a player. But again, you have to, accept the code of ethics as a GM to say no. If the dice say no, the dice say no. If the dice say yes, you can have something, awesome, you have it. But it's not me saying you have it. It's the dice rolls.
I unfortunately just have not run into enough ethical GMs, or even one that could even pass an ethics standard that I would trust enough to be able to do it.
I can understand that.
Maybe just call me jaded, cynical, and completely, untrusting. But I literally look at. What's that?
No, because he's Jade. I can't call you Jade.
No, I see what you did.
Just before that, of cynical, where I am untrusting. I trust most other GMs about as far as I trust the government. and I don't. So, and while I might think I have ethics, but I know better sometimes. And so I assume that whatever garbage I would do, somebody else is going to do. And so I might be able to be good, but I know I might slip. And thus I assume everyone else is going to slip. And therefore, I don't trust. And I made the mistake of recently, within the last year, of letting another player guest GM it for me because he wanted to get his feet wet. And the two adventures he ran were so weighted in making his character cool, his ideas cool, and everything that was so the joke that we all have about the GM PC. Oh, but this is so amazing. And everyone at the table sitting here going, "This is garbage. This is trash." And they all kind of, and he goes, "But it's this is my adventure." We're like, "How long's the adventure planned for?" Like 7-8 sessions. And we're like, "That's not an adventure. That's a campaign, guy. You're hijacking." And so literally, when he left, the rest of the players go, "Okay, since we got summoned to a new dimension to go play this adventure, we are all outsiders, and we're going to cast Banish on ourselves, and we're sending ourselves back to our home plane." And
willingly fail that save.
yeah, we're all willingly failing the save. To do what? To be sent back to our home planes. Bye, we're all outsiders. So next week came around, the whole party, I was just saying, "I'm just sitting back, I'm not part of this." And the whole party goes, "We banish ourselves out of your campaign. Bye." Poof! And he goes, "You can't do that. You need to. I had this whole adventure on how you guys get home." And he's like, "No, we're done. Bye." And they left.
No, banishment was our ticket home. This is not Dungeons and Dragons, the animated series back in the 90s or late 80s.
They were high enough level. They had the spell. They were like, we're pulling the eject lever. We're out." Because they realized what it was. They realized that they were going to get abused by another GM who just wanted to have an ego trip. And so they just pulled the eject handle. Because for once, they had an eject handle, and they pulled it.
Two things really quick. My Monday campaign, because this kind of goes along with what I do on Monday. On Monday campaigns, I have it with me, a mutual friend of mine and Jade's. Finn runs 1 week. I run 1 week, and a person that Jade will eventually meet because he is joining the unit at some point. Perry runs a third week. And we do roll 20, so there is no fudging dice. There is, we roll what we roll. And when it comes to, I don't. I know there's the option, but I don't. And Finn does, and neither does Perry.
D20 can fudge dice, but it's hard.
Yeah, we don't do that. And when it comes to handing out, glad handing each other in the campaigns, well, because you're DMing, you two are DMing for me, I'm giving you guys these Holy Avenger and the Staff of the Magi. No, we don't do that because it's not an ethics thing. We're just trying to keep the game, our games, because it's not even the same world. I'm running not Wrath of the Righteous. That's Jade. Rise of the Rune Lord. Finn is running a 5e campaign, and Perry's running a 5p. So I don't even have to deal with double dipping in one world. Every game is its own setting. One I'm in 10 towns, and the other one I'm under some mountain somewhere. I'm like the beginning second part of the going back to where you bump into Big Red over here. I can't think of what it's called. The Forge of Fury, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no glad handing each other. If the game lets the characters have this, we don't do. We just go with that. Now, for the ones I have played, I have done a DM and been a character in the world. I don't get any of the gold. I don't get any of the treasure. All the treasure, all the items go to the party. If I'm playing cleric, my church pays my way, but I don't come in with plus 5 items. I come in with the bare minimum
Okay.
because I'm not going to take away from the party. My
Yeah,
job as a
I've-
DM is to make sure the party gets everything that they need for the campaign to go, not to take from them.
I too have committed the sin, the shameful sin of DM NPCs. However, they are typically to fill the niche role that has not been filled but is desperately needed for the group. So they're not truly DM NPCs because they don't remain the same character. Like I'll swap them out from time to time, and they're mostly just NPCs. But I think the ones that stick around the most are healers because nobody wants to be the Band-Aid. The spellcasters who have access to spells the party doesn't have because they weren't thinking ahead. They're building for death, not for utility. So I do sometimes go, okay, sometimes you need more than just death to be able to get through some of these adventures. So I will make an NPC that can help them along. And it's not really truly to me a DM NPC. The DM NPCs that I might throw in there repetitively are major characters of the world, not so much for the individual story.
They're non-playable characters. The only person that can play them is a DM because their hook in it is beyond what the player's capability.
Anyway,
Unless you can fill that extra seat. Hey, I'm at 4. My buddy wants to play. He's willing to play cleric. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to stop playing Jim Bob the Healing Man.
That's understandable. I'm the type of DM that I get upset when players don't want to have a cleric in their midst, and I think the cleric is like one of the most important characters out there. It's not just the fact they can cast really good spells or they have the ability to channel undead. It's just that their interest is keeping a party alive, and I get upset when the players don't want to go with that.
Now, there has been a few times where I rolled out treasure, or I looked at, hey, Jade, I'm running a campaign. Do you mind rolling out the treasure? And or I just don't have the time, or it's especially in Pathfinder 3.5 days. There was a lot of paperwork there, and I'm just still trying to keep. I'm a new DM at that point. I still am compared to you three. I still am the youngest DM here, I believe.
Yeah, but you figured it out.
Yeah, I have good teachers over the last several years, but I'll ask because I know Jade's not biased. He's not gonna nerf, or he's not gonna run the dice in his general direction. And I'm like, that's cool. Now, if I'm doing a DM PC and I roll, or I have him roll, and it's something cleric base, and know that this character really does need this, I will innate and say, well, fine, I will take it on the pretense I'll keep it until I die or you find somebody better. I love that line. That is one of the best lines from the movie, from that movie. Anyways, but that's how I do it. Running a character in your own story is difficult, and I know this is not exactly on topic, but I'll circle back. But when you're doing, you got Group A, Group B, and possibly Group C on 3 different days. There's going to be a merge where you might have to step in as a DM to be a PC to be the bridge, to have the connecting moment for A to meet up with C or B to meet up with whatever.
And that's why I call it a DM NPC, because I won't play the same character repetitively through the entire game. Because there are those GMs out there who do make DM PCs where they keep having this character go throughout the entire campaign with the party. I will be right back. I'm going to go take care of my dog because he's chewing a bone right beside me.
All right. So I agree with what Shadzar says. There's no DM NPC. All NPCs are run by the Dungeon Master. Whenever players, like last game I ran, Grimson quite a bit because Travis wasn't there. He was out fishing for poon at Lake Catch Gonaher Pacific Lap, and so he needed to have his character ran, and he didn't realize it. He was busy, chasing that elusive poon. So Bruce had to run his Dwarven and cleric, which I felt I rolled him pretty much like how he plays.
I'll be nice. I like Travis.
I like Travis too, but he plays a pretty. It's pretty easy for Grimson to be like, okay, this is a little bit much. We got to go. I want to live a long time in a healthy state.
Yeah, it's when that also happens if you're running and you have a player that can't make it because of family reasons or financial reasons,
Trying to start a family.
Yeah, well, yeah, or whatever reason I can't make it tonight. I'm sorry. Can somebody else play my character? Yeah, that happens. Now, I will not, as a DM, I will not let that character die at that event because it's not their fault that they can't make it. They should not be punished for outside situations.
Fair enough.
And I don't know very many players that like the concept of missing one game because of work or life in general. Come back and, by the way, you need to make a new character. Why? Well, I don't like you, so I killed it. I don't like that character, so I killed it.
Yeah, they get fussy.
You lose groups that way.
Say again?
You lose groups that way.
Yes. God.
Or you have a player kill another player when that other player is not available to play.
All he's doing was looking for mushrooms. I swear to God. Anyway, at the worst possible time.
You keep saying that. I have to go back in time for a moment.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jade. What was the next topic you want to discuss?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Why don't you?
Here's your spot, sir.
God, I'm sorry. This week has been a really hellstorm of a week.
Let me ask you this in a related vein. Have you been able to sit back and enjoy or relax this past weekend?
The weekend? No, I didn't really have an opportunity.
Since Sunday.
Since Sunday. I got to watch a movie, but actually last night while in the dark because I had no power and wasn't able to make stream last night. I don't know why, but somehow the wires directly outside my house on the transformer melted. So that was fun. So I was reading in the dark, and I read this about this character in one of the books that I'm into, and I'm like, holy hell, I'm going to use this. If you're not familiar with Brandon Sanderson, this is if you're not familiar with Brandon Sanderson, he has quite a few books over many different types of genre, but one of them is a graphic book. And the character is one of these city lords. There's 7 or 5 city lords. I can't remember how many. But he uses his station. With his station, he can commandeer any ship for any reason, go any place with it. He is given lodging and food. All he can eat, food and drink and whatnot, anytime he wants. Everybody. That's just who this character. The station that the character has achieved. And everyone's always wondering why the hell is he always drunk? Well, it turns out it's revealed in the 3rd book. I'm not going to say much on that, but it's revealed in the 3rd book why he drinks so damn much. And it's because he is getting his revenge on the people who put him into the position he's in. He drinks a specific bottle of wine that's like 1,000 coin per bottle, and he drinks 6 to 7 bottles a day. And it's all because they screwed him over so bad on many of his investments over the years that he's like, you know what, I'm gonna get my money back through drink. So screw you guys. I thought that was just so amazing. So yes, I have had a chance to relax, and I'm like, I'm gonna build an NPC in the game world based on that kind of concept. Like I'm gonna have my revenge. I'm gonna get every coin you ever took from me, but in the most roundabout way possible, because screw you guys.
God, that was forever ago.
That was forever ago. My goodness.
Yeah.
There's a young Jade right there. I see spotting.
Yeah, maybe.
There's Robert.
There's a Connell.
What a schmuck. There's an asshole who torpedoed the game. There's dead weight, but I'll let you figure out who I'm
your
talking
favorite
about.
person. Your favorite person.
Actually, I saw him this past week.
Dear God, what happened?
Nothing. I was at Menards and he works there.
Now watch. Bruce gets a copyright strike for showing his own video.
I know, right?
Hilarious.
It's actually happening now. You've just scripted my next 3 days arguing with idiotic YouTube lawyers.
They're right.
To go with Jade's what he's talking about, I love when you get that spark as a player, you get that spark of a character, a concept in your head. It's like, I think that could work. Then you're not even looking at the numbers. You're just looking at the personality. What kind of personality he could be or whatever. And I was watching, was it Tombstone with Kurt Russell?
Mm-hmm.
And Doc Holliday came up. And I'm like, I can play Doc Holliday. Well, how would I make Doc Holliday? And not even looking at the book, his personality. He is a exile noble from Waterdeep who is trapped somewhere in Forgotten Realms, like 10 towns way up in the frozen north. And just the personality mixture of what that would look like. I miss that table too. I miss that store. But that whole kind of took over. And I'm just sitting in a dark room just working out how I'd play that character or how that character's personality would be. You know, hey, stock in the fridge. But no, I love the sparks. I like the sparks of creativity that happens.
That's actually why I keep coming to the game, is because I was able to look at while reading any of the books I read as a young man, be it Tolkien or even Salvatore at the time.
Whoa.
I was able to just be able to build any one of the characters at any given time, just by reading through the story. And I was just like, oh yeah, okay, I can build that character. I know what he is. I know how to do that. I think that was one of the things that just kept me coming back to the table, because while reading or experiencing other novels or whatnot, I was able to just conceptualize what each character would be.
Was that 3 nat 20s I just saw?
That was.
Oh God, that's horrifying.
That was a special request from the Baron himself.
I'm not trying to relive old glories on that. That was fun because we had just had to deal with Zine screaming, "I cannot die!" the week before because he had the diehard feat as a half orc, and I fucking got him for like 88 hit points, and he only had like 60. And I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a chance to where you're still breathing, not well, but breathing. Roll that 20 for your fort save because you need it. No, he couldn't do it. Okay, well, the pick exits what was once your chest cavity, times 4 multiplier.
I love those cards. I really do. The crit deck and the fail deck, those are amazing.
That is not a loaded die, Thurston Howell. That was legit. My players saw me roll plenty of low digits on that die too. Kai,
Yes.
what did you think about the Brandon Sanderson stuff, or are you not familiar with it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. That's the first I've heard that name.
Okay, I only ask you that because I'm not in the same boat. I know the books he's written. I just have never read them.
I wish I would be able to tell you that, but that's not in my current wheelhouse of authors. So
It's understandable.
I got one of his books down. With Jade being a friend of mine, he's telling me I need to read them. I got one of his books down. I have a system of books or type of books I read before I go back to a fantasy. I do a biography, a history, then something maybe a little bit heavier. Then I'll do a fantasy. Just so I keep it rotating. Now, what would be your ideal setting for a Western March type? I mean,
West March?
West March.
Literally any.
I mean, I guess not the fantasy story, but do you do this like you have one group meet on one day of the week and another group meet on the other day of the week, or you do big sessions, super sessions on Saturday, every one Saturday be typed once a month?
I'll be honest, because of my life, I only have enough time to run a session in person a week. That's it. I don't have any other free time. The fact that I have this is one of my free days. So I have one session. Everybody else, every other poor sap who gets to play for side adventures, you better learn to enjoy play by email. Right? If you're not going to open up Discord or Skype or Yahoo Messenger or whatever the fucking chat program you want to run, and you just can't bother to check your messages and get back to me when I write things to you and poke me to make sure I write back to you and maintain an active dialogue, as one of my players who just recently had to retire from the game goes, you get what you put in. If you put energy in, you get energy back out. If you give me nothing to work with, I will forget you're there and not look at your tab for the next 6 to 8 weeks. I will create custom groups or custom chat groups that are almost like this Matryoshka, like nesting doll of chats that are all happening, where various layers are all happening simultaneously. But if you're not willing to put the effort in to check a freaking email account, and if I write you a 20-page document full of information and you give me back 2 sentences, well, you guess what? You're not getting another 20-page document. You get what you freaking get. And I'm not running 12. I don't have enough time in my life to run more than 1 or 2 games tops in person. Trying to squeeze time once every other week to be able to possibly show up for Bruce's game on Saturday was a Herculean task, and I'm hoping it holds out. I really do. But I'm not holding my breath because life hates me, and the fact that I'm being cautiously optimistic is the universe getting ready to kick me in the fucking nuts. But I do have time at stoplights, truck stops, between runs to check and write emails to you. I will write a small book for you in private, and I will run wonderful things. But anybody who's playing on the play by email route better realize the clock does not move forward until the people who actually get to sit at the table move the clock forward. I don't care if you got I have the next 20 levels planned in the next 7 years. If the people at the table only advance the clock by 3 minutes the entire session because they decided to get into one kick, knock down, drag out, kick and D&D fight, that took, oh man, that was like 15, 16 rounds of combat. You do realize that we just spent an entire night to play. 4 minutes.
Hey,
Man, that's a Dark Battle shit going on there, man.
The Rune Lords, Blaine.
Yeah.
The end of it was a 2-session, 5-hour spread for both game sessions. Nothing but combat.
Yeah.
And it was time to throw down with Karzog, 23rd level wizard, transmuter / arc wizard. Took 10 hours for the 8 people to whittle him down to 0 or past 0 hit points. And the thing is, he took 3 of the 8 people and their hirelings and their cohorts with him.
Yeah, and the thing here is that I had this great battle scene set up, and then one player decided to go wander off. He had wandered off, and he was across town. Now, imagine so for those who've been in Peoria, so you're at Bradley Park, Upper Bradley Park, and there's a fight happening in Lower Bradley Park. It's a downhill run, and you might be able to run that steep-ass path from Upper to Lower Park in...
Not anymore.
What?
Not anymore.
In a good steep run down in about 3 minutes. You could see the fight happening down in the valley. You're like, I can be down there in maybe 5 minutes if I try really hard to not fall down the hill and roll like a goddamn bouncy ball. And then you realize D&D combat has started. Fight. 10 rounds have 6 rounds have passed. A minute. So
6 rounds is 36 seconds, bud.
Okay, sorry. So you're right. So 10 rounds have passed. You're now at a whole minute, guys. So Roly Poly I man at the top of the hill goes, I can get there. D&D combat ends. Like a fight has lasted 10 rounds. Everyone's exhausted. Nobody's got spells left. Everyone's out of cool abilities, and everyone's like popping potions, trying to look for scrolls, trying to find somebody to keep in the fight. So 2 minutes have passed. 20 rounds of combat. People are dead on the ground, dying, bleeding out, and Roly Poly Man is trying to go, I'm gonna get there someday, and everyone's dead. Fight's over. And finally, that character who was watching it all from 5 minutes away goes, I finally arrived. Can I help? Get a shovel. Start scooping up your friends into the bags. That's what you're doing.
It always amuses me when somebody compares, and I've seen people do this, and I argue with them all the damn time, but they compare, well, D&D combat takes too long. It's a matter of minutes. I'm like, have you ever been in a real fight ever?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about tournaments. I'm talking about behind some gas station, somebody's house, or whatever, throwing fist brawl. Those things are done within 3 freaking minutes at most, unless it becomes a TV show a bar fight. The real fights last seconds, and if you don't understand that as a person, and you want to bitch about how unrealistic D&D rounds are because how they break down the time, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I watch boxing matches and they go for 12 rounds, 3 minute, 3-minute rounds. I'm like, yeah, that's called running to get your cardio to be able to fuel that tank.
Yeah, and also boxers are considered professional fighters. 2 drunken louts, like say me and Connell get into a row, within 45 seconds the fight will be decided one way or the other. I guarantee it. We're not.
My money's on that guy right there.
We're not in good shape.
I don't know if Bruce can see it, but I'm pointing at who I think the winner would be.
I don't know, man. If you grab a hold of me by the throat, I think it's over. But My wind is not where it used to be.
And I'm not going to fuck with Jade. He gets me down on the ground. I'm screwed.
Nope. No. That's exactly where that goes. It's just how that works.
Actually, I'm going to address chat here for a moment. Tim Christ. So yeah, the wall behind me of stuff. It's in a presentable manner, mostly because I knew I was going to be streaming with a camera eventually, and I was like, I want something presentable behind me because it looked like an absolute fucking disaster before I started hopping on stream. So my wife helped me with some of the symmetry that you see behind me. Like I've got 3 board games over there, and I've also got 3 board games on this side. So I had a lot of help from a third party interested in making sure that my backdrop was presentable, so to say. So yeah, that's why it looks like somebody with OCD kind of hit it.
Hold on, chat. Don't let him lie to you. It's really a green screen. He's in the bathroom.
Yes, let me show you my green screen.
Well, let's see here.
How's that for green screen?
All right, here's just 3 books on my damn shelf. So this is not a D&D sized book. This is an actual book I actually enjoy reading, unlike, say, a role-playing game book. I have a nice giant-ass book that's too fucking big on trains, armored war trains. That's cool. I also have this giant-ass book on German naval artillery guns. I have other books on artillery. I have weapons. I have history. I have this. This is not just some simple, oh, hey, look, I go over this shitty shelf where everything is all pristine and same size because every fucking gaming company is going to the same Chinese manufacturer for their shit-made books so they can all be identical. So now some OCD fuckers can just go out and do what they fucking want. I don't give a shit. So you know what? So what if James wants to put out a book bigger than fucking anybody else? Fucking good. Make it happen. Make it do that.
It wasn't a dig, man. It wasn't a dig. It was just.
If I want an Italian company that just wants to give me a goddamn complete catalog on World War II aircraft, I'll be happy. Or there's other Italian company that puts out a giant table book on fucking history of ships. Or, I don't know, Barnes Noble, hey, on war, that's Noble Size, that's Noble Size. Oh, hell, here's another James.
It really doesn't take much to get him started.
But hey, I guess I will find some way to fucking shrink ray my shit to make it all be fucking good so that way some of you fucking people in chat can have a nice go, well, your shit. I'm sorry, I have books that are fucking interesting that I read and study, and they're things that are more than just, oh, hey, look, there's the whole fucking shelf of goddamn fucking role-playing game books. And I don't give a shit about these. Fuck these.
It wasn't a dig, man. It was just, the reason why my backdrop looks the way it is because my wife helped me with it.
It was on the chat that just set me off on this one. Because they're like, well, your shelf doesn't look at all cool. I'm sorry, I buy books from companies that are actually fucking interesting and not just some whack job jerk off session from fucking goddamn Dungeons and Dragons or fucking some other game company goes, we go off the same template, every single page is the fucking same size because it looks good on a shelf. Fuck no. I like my books being interesting, and unfortunately, interesting means I'm not standard sized.
Baron, you got your wish, buddy. You wanted to feel better. You want to hear Kyrie rant. There you go, man.
You know what book I've been looking at a lot the last couple of days just because I'm bored and I wanted to find something interesting to cook? The unofficial Harry Potter cookbook.
I've got the Eorzean cookbook for Final Fantasy 14 because my wife and I still play that game. So
I want to get the
don't
Hannibal
feel bad,
Lecter
man.
cook. I want to get the Hannibal Lecter cookbook from the TV series.
I love you, Kai. I'm glad that you got that out.
Well, I'm going to address Tim Christ again. So my eventual plan is to have a fake rock wall kind of going halfway around or halfway up all the way around the basement to make it look more like a tavern. You know, that's my eventual goal. I just need to find time to do it.
And the unofficial Game of Thrones cookbook, just to stay about topic from earlier today, the chat.
Anyway, so what were we talking about?
something
Green screens and OCD.
I don't know anymore. I'm lost.
Well, we could talk about the discussion that happened because apparently somebody got offended that a bunch of affiliated channels started talking about the new versions of Shadowrun and
I got nothing on that. Although I did hear something interesting, though. We talked about momentarily a while back, but apparently Paizo is re-releasing one of their modules for 5e.
Paizo's going to start writing all their modules for 5e because 5e is trying to transition to 6e, and whenever you transition, you lose everybody that followed you up to that point. And so Paizo is going to inherit this gigantic wealth of gamers that they just want to play a good fucking module, not a module that ends with no conflict and or combat, not a module where you serve up fucking frappes and try to get to work on time from class. No, modules where there's a big guy at the end of the dungeon and he's got rat ogres as pets. And he's sending pestilence into the city. You have to kill him. You have to kill him because he's stabbing your Aunt Trudy. Shit like that. So Paizo is going to go out there swinging their big across the bay in Redmond, Washington, Dick. And they're going to go there like, we have all of these adventure paths for 5e. And we can convert each and every one of them from their Paizo counterparts and have them on shelves within 180 days. Your move, wizards. And it'll be great. Because
I was actually... Go for it. I was talking to my friend Finn earlier, and I'm running 5e. I'm running 5e, but I'm running Rise of the Runelord. So I have to do all the remath and everything else because a lot of the monsters that 5e has in it, Pathfinder 5e doesn't have. So I have to reskin them, which is not a big problem. I enjoy the game. So when that actually drops, I might actually go out and buy the 5e version of Rise of the Runelord to save myself a headache. Or I might just say, fuck it, and keep going. And now, I know about a minute ago, you were talking about the last big fight in Rise of the Runelord. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to run that. God. Hey, Jade, what are you doing on that Monday? You can be the guest bad guy. Better yet, because I know I can't get Bruce to do it. Do you have a Monday where you can go dick over some players that you don't know?
Just send me an email. I'll run it. Email me, catch me on Discord, or just start messaging me somewhere, and I'll respond, and I'll give me what you need to work with. I'll start working something up based on whatever information you give me. So, I mean, if it's to make life interesting / murder people / hit players up from the side that they don't realize, feel free. Just bounce ideas off me. The worst you're going to get is a Chancellor Palpatine in the background who's slowly but surely corrupting your entire world, and at the last minute, your players go, oh, wait, that's the bad guy? Yeah, he's been the bad guy the whole time. How are you this stupid? Because we're playing Dungeons & Dragons. Bad guys are wearing big giant horn helmets and, using swords that shoot laser beams and death magic. They're not actually the people who are going to overthrow our very god from within. That's not how this works. we're supposed to fight evil, and evil has a giant blinking sign over their head saying, I'm evil, evil, evil. And that's supposed to be the guy next to you. That's not.
The last time I gave Cigar DM a monster for his party to fight, I think it ended up TPKing or nearly TPKing the entire group.
But if I have you two show up on that Monday night where one plays the dragon and one plays the Rune Lord, it's not my fault.
You're right. It's not. It's not. And you're doing the job right then. At that point, we're handing you the standard. Hopefully, if we're doing it right, we have a list of standard orders and operations that we're going to follow, and you're going to follow that, hopefully. And hell or high water, standing orders are followed, and people die. Or the villain dies, whichever.
The worst case about it is I'll be asking you two to play 5e for 1, maybe 2 sessions. That's the worst of it.
Oh, man. I'll figure out how to reach the top shelf. Those are all been all exiled. Okay.
I mean, Jade, you've done it where you've had guest people come and play bad guys for you. I like the people I game with, so therefore I have a bias towards them where I don't want to fuck them over too bad. But at the same time,
that's the problem. You like them.
Well, to be fair, anyways, Finn is my daughter's godfather. You know, I've known him for years, so there is a bias towards it. But yeah, I think Kai would be a great supervillain. I can see him twirling his mustache from the back corner.
You know, there was a campaign event that I ran in 2013. My players were getting to the city of Zar, and they fought this gargantuan black tar dragon that he would spit globules of acidic tar, and they'd land, and players would be stuck in place. They'd sink down the tar, and he'd move through the tar like a druid through tangled growth, and he'd just start eating the players. Well, there was like 8 people at the table, and Paizo and people at Frog God Games were asking me, how are you keeping the bad guys so challenging for your group? I'm like, well, really, I just let the players roll, and they often will kill themselves with a bad critical hit because I use a critical fumble deck. And I killed more players with a critical fumble deck up until the point where they fought the big black tar dragon. When they fought the big black tar dragon, 5 out of 8 people and 6 of the cohorts died. DED dead. And the dragon, like, the first thing that happened was that it revealed itself, and the monk who was the Order of the Arrow, or the Zen Archer from Paizo's APG.
That's a broken class.
If you're a GM and you think the range game for Paizo's Pathfinder and 3rd edition D&D, if you think the range game is a little broke, it's a little bit in favor of the people with a bow and arrow. Don't look at the Zen Archer, and don't let your friends roll up one of these characters, because they do get kind of broken very quickly, usually at level 2. Well, the player that had this character, he had it for a while, and Cody was really good at making the system scream under stress. And he unloaded like 200 points of damage within a round of combat with his bow. And so the dragon did a move action, glided over to where Cody's monk was, and sundered his weapon. Whack! that was the end of that. Then after that, I believe he breathed his acidic tar and goofied most of the cohorts and their horses right there. And then the party ran away, and they had to come back again for him. And he eventually killed like 5 out of 8. And he had a huge treasure hoard by the time it was over. It was wonderful. I just have to say that those the days like that were great. and I wasn't even running the dragon. That was my friend who came in from town, and he's like, "I'm on leave." I'm like, "Cool, you want to play?" "Yeah, let me run the monsters." Awesome. So I let him run the big freaking tar dragon.
See, I this happened in the whole tar dragon. When you said tar dragon, I thought you were being song of the South moment. I was going to hear the you doll in the background.
No, Uncle Fetus. We're going to we're going completely straight laced. The tar dragon.
Yeah.
It is a complete monster from Frog God Games.
Now, when it comes to archers and dragons, I mean, I love playing an archer. It's normally my standby character, too much to a lot of my DM's chagrin, because I'm like, can't you play anything else? I'm like, I don't know how to make an archer work. But those cards that you're talking about, the crit cards, they are amazing on both sides. When you can bard a freaking dragon, when I say bard a dragon, I'm talking The Hobbit. Go read something, go read a book. And you hit that, you roll nat 20, the DM sees that, he confirms, he pulls out the deck, and you do 1d4 point of bleed damage to a dragon as an archer. There is just something really, really cool about it, because it's normally the sword-wielding badass that takes out the dragons, or the magic casters, not this guy who's shooting a piece of iron on a wooden shaft at something.
Okay.
So, but those cards, I really wish 5e had a version of them. I'm about ready to buy a deck.
Just buy them. They're not for Pathfinder.
They don't print them anymore.
They're on
Stopped
eBay.
printing them 2 years ago.
Then buy the PDFs. I think the PDFs are available and you can print them out now.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll just do have a sheet, have them scroll down, have a put D100.
Well, actually, let me reiterate that. They are the Pathfinder 1.0 crit cards are out of print. They started printing 2.0 crit cards, and within the mechanics of 2.0.
Well, if they're 2.0, which is basically 5e, just not 5e, I could use those.
So when you guys said 2.0, I had to see if Kai had leapt for joy, because he has a very, very big love for second edition Pathfinder, which nobody loves.
See, I'm going to change my overall opinion on 5e, mainly because we had another gentleman show up in Max's chill stream, who runs Pathfinder second edition, and I got to talk to him a little bit, and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. What lost me on second edition is when they said, well, goblins are now playable characters. I'm like, no, they're not. I don't even like, the other aspect was, we're no longer going to we're no longer have paladins. We will have champions. I'm like, I don't even like playing paladins, but don't fucking take it out of my game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but if I can find somebody who's running second edition and I can stomach said person, that's not a dive at you, Kai. That really isn't.
See, the thing here is that by calling them champion, you're disengaging from the baggage, because they really did critically change how paladin works with second. It's no longer the paladin of old, and since you've now changed what paladin is, and now so everyone goes, it's a paladin. All I gotta think about is lawful good, no fun allowed, blah blah blah, fill in the blank. But now you can be a champion of a lot of alignments, of a lot of gods. Now you have, what are they? Divine fighters that can do a lot of paladin-like things, but they're not paladins. And that gives you, so honestly, changing it just detaches
they're basically combat clerics without all of the healing ability.
Yep.
With only
I just got
minor.
invite to Shadows game.
Their focus is on combat rather than healing and divine spells. But otherwise, it's a combat cleric.
Then why don't you just give a fighter a Holy Avenger and call it a day?
Because fighter has its own things. Fighter has its own abilities, and this one allows you to have divine smite. Sure, allows you to smite things that are opposing to you. Perfect. I said it's still paladin, but now that you've opened it up to, it's not just lawful good, no fun allowed characters. Now you can have a paladin who's not a lawful good character and still a functioning character. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm willing to give it a go. Like I said, I think I just got an invite from Shadow and Sons. He might run the 2nd edition Pathfinder game, and I'll sit down at his table any day of the week. I'll sit down at any one of you guys's, in the panel's table any day of the week. I enjoy gaming with my friends, and I've said this before. I think Kai thinks of me as a friend. I don't know yet, but
yeah, you're warming up to me.
That's normally a 6-pack and cigar with most people I know.
That also works too, but I don't smoke anymore. So
I don't know. I'm a fan of the 3.5 and 1st edition Pathfinder.
Hold on.
yes.
Paladins.
Baron, my dear Baron of Peoria.
No.
You haven't invited me to said game.
He's a baron in England, not Peoria.
Well, he
Scotland.
lives in Peoria. Well, he's a lad of Peoria and a baron of England. How about that?
There we go.
You haven't invited me to said game. Anyways, but yeah, no, I love gaming. I love the world of gaming. I don't care, and I've said this before. I don't care what system you're running at, as long as you're playing.
For top Warhammer 40K, no, 3.5 can go fuck itself. It's still 2nd edition or go away. No.
The only way I could play Warhammer is if somebody gives me a painted army, because I don't have the money nor the inkling.
No, someone hands you Dark Heresy and you go play Dark Heresy.
Yes.
You can't. You're in Bruce's game at the same time. Well, you guys can switch Saturdays, you assholes. Love you, Bruce.
It's all right.
But anyways, what was the topic? Oh my god, it has been one of those weeks.
So anyway, we've had our discussion on like pulling people and saying, listen, we're going to have a separate campaign, same world, West Marches style or not, but this narrative is going to be for this reason, and let the players enjoy themselves. Have them do a few sessions to up to a dozen sessions. Your main game that you're running might take 1 year, might take 5 years. And that's not a bad thing.
That hurts my soul, though, when somebody says most games only last 7 sessions. I don't even want to sit down at a table that lasts 7 sessions. It's, I'm not saying it has to be a 10-year game. I'm cool with a 2-year game. Well, I'm going to run from 1st level to 10. I'm like, why the fuck should I even bother?
Because that 1st level to 10th level is going to take 3 years.
Yeah, I had a 1 through 10 last 3 months.
What?
Yeah, that's because the game master was giving too much in the way of rewards. You can make any game last any length of time. Like I can actually stretch out levels 1 to 5 over the course of probably 6 to 7 months or more. But the trade-off is, instead of giving XP, I'm giving other rewards of other types of values, not necessarily experience points. I'm giving land titles. I'm giving the ability to make shops. I'm giving the abilities to make the characters more than just their combat abilities. I'm actually engaging in role play versus role play.
Yeah, no, that's more than fair. I don't know. It was a short game, and it was 1 through 10, and it was straight Pathfinder. It was very much straight Pathfinder, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm stopping at 10," and I'm like, "No, because I want to do more with this character."
I mean, there's nothing saying you can't do more with the character, but that's for you and the GM to work out. On the side,
Or
you
maybe
can
you
say,
take
yeah,
that character to another table. No offense.
or that, yeah.
Once you
Yeah, if you kind of find a DM that's cool enough to do that. Since there's like a little bit of time left, and I don't know how much more on this topic that we have, I kind of want to balance, and this can jump into the next one of our sessions if you guys want. Multi-classing
Peter Rant.
What?
Where we have Kyrie Peter Rant.
Yeah.
Oh! First off, I don't even know what I say half the time, so I can't
I can
repeat
believe that.
because
We've
I
already
don't
figured that out.
my rants aren't scripted. So could you repeat that? No. It's a one-time event. It's over. Good luck.
Somebody is going to take all the clips of you ranting, and somebody's just going to build you a page, and you're not going to have any control of said page, but it would be Kai at hisbest.com YouTube or whatever variation.
No, Max is going to make money off Kai and never give Kai a cent of it. He's going to be like one of those old-time comic book writers and the comic book manager, like, you're going to do 2 pages a day, and I'll pay you some ramen noodles. And Stan Lee's like, but no, I need money to live.
Wait, but Stan Lee was the one who's paying all the artists in ramen noodles.
Yes, he was.
He's both sinner and saint. Make sure if you're gonna sing his praise, sing his sins at the same time.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a big Stan the fucking Lee fan. I enjoy a lot of the comic books, but the guy wasn't perfect. I mean, no one is.
No, he was most certainly not. I wish I had gotten to know Jack Kirby or been alive and learned more about Jack Kirby while he was alive, but he died when I was like 18. And I had no idea about comics at that time.
Or hell, hit the time machine and go meet Bob Kane, the creator of Batman.
Dude.
Or go in D&D, go have an hour-long conversation with, and hopefully not come out of it as a pyre, as the Baron said, a prior of Gygax. But I actually talked to him in the early days when he was putting together Dungeons & Dragons to see where his thoughts were.
You can see where his thoughts were. They go get a hold of and play through Chainmail.
Okay, that's fair. There's a lot of these great creators out there that are no longer with us.
So get a hold of, learn how to play Chainmail, and then add role-playing to Chainmail. That's D&D 1.0 in a nutshell. I mean, in chat, you can get angry with me if you want. I've played 1.0 exactly one time, but I know that's Origins.
Yeah. I don't know. Kai, what has been going on with you lately with your campaign? Have you been building some new things with it? Because I'm kind of interested to hear how your game goes when I get the chance to.
Okay. Well, currently they're dealing with an extra-dimensional invasion of pretty much evil, intelligent, hive-minded spider ants that are literally trying to tear them apart, and they are slowly about to get. I have been keeping track of which numbers I've been using, the variant of spider it is, and how they've been killed, so that way the hives can adapt and adapt better gear, and then change the mutations, and how they're being bred, so that way the next wave of spiders will be a slightly improved spider ant that will come forward, and they've given them all code names based on their appropriate abilities, and I'm kind of smiling at this because this allows me to go, all right, here's the refit kit that's going the gear refit, which because the bugs can adapt to gear faster than they can breed. So the old models will get the new gear, and the new breed models that are coming out of the hives will have new gear plus new abilities. And then I have charts that I charts it like at what rate research is happening and what rate gear is being manufactured and what rate that breeding is occurring at and at what rate that the hives are able to produce at. So that way casualties can be replaced. So that way if the party kills a whole lot real fast, they can't replace them fast enough. But I've had this all worked out in this thing where the party can sit back and go, oh, we're doing pretty good at it. Are you sure you're doing good? Yeah, we've killed so many of them. You realize that they are ants, right? Intelligent ants. Well, can we kill them? No, you can't. Well, can we get more people? Yes, but can you trade casualties with an ant colony? And they're sitting back and going, oh, this is getting kind of. I'm like, yeah. And there's speed modifiers, and they're like, so the horde manages to push you out. You can outrun them, and that'll give you a 3 or 4 day advantage before the horde arrives at your next location. Can you rest up, get new gear, and get new equipment? How fast can you bring reinforcements in? Are you willing to trade bodies for time? And watch the party go, oh, or are you willing to scout ahead? Are you willing? Well, we'll just go up there. That is a 2 day trip that you just done. You only had a 4 day window for when the horde was going to reach you. So and started to work out intercept times, travel times plus interception times. Like they're moving at the same rate you're moving. So if they are moving at 12 days and you're faster, so you get there at 8. You have 4 days to prepare. Well, we'll go all the way back to no. If you spend the entire time traveling back to their current base where you just got driven out of, they'll have reached you and murdered all your base. Can you figure out how to figure out your interception times on how you're going to work this out? And watching people go, this is a lot of work. Can you give us a map? Here's the map. Remember, you have 100 miles to walk. Each hex is 12. We'll force march. They're slower than you, but they can force march like you can. Oh God! And watching people's heads explode, going, this isn't just a standard dungeon where we just go and have a 12-hour nap. They literally just went through an entire fight where I never let them have they were always at 6 hours of rest, 4 hours of rest. They'd hit and run and fade, and then realize, wait, we're out of ammunition. How do we get more arrows? Well, if you can spend a few hours sharpening some crude arrows, but we can. Do you have 8 hours to wait for a Fletcher to make you a full pack? And no, we don't. So how many hours did you guys pack? I have 2 quivers. Oh, cool. You have 40 arrows. How many did you fire this combat? 20. Okay, you're nearly half empty. Do you have reloads? Well, there's reloads elsewhere. No, there's not. How are you going to support yourself? Well, I'm going to blitz out all my spells. Congratulations, you're never going to get rest. What do you have left to back up? And then watching people who are dedicated casters, I'm a wizard. I don't never need to have a backup weapon. So go, I've blown through all my fifths, my fourths, my thirds, and I'm burning through seconds. And now the monsters aren't dying as fast. GM, can we have 8 hours of rest? There is no 8 hours of rest. You are being pursued by the horde. The horde is an uncaring, unstoppable mass. You blitzed it out too quickly, and you weren't thinking about where you're going to run to, where are you going to sleep, who's going to resupply you, where are you going to get. Did you pre-position equipment? No, you didn't. You just thought you were just going to be a standard D&D adventurer. No, start thinking about how you're going to win against the horde or be devoured by it. Well, I never thought about this. Nobody has. Start thinking about how to defeat the horde. And they're all sitting there oh, shit.
Out of curiosity, that sounds like a fun campaign. It feels like I'd probably go way faster in that campaign in real life. But it sounds like a fun campaign. Have you ever watched a TNT show called Dark Skies?
No, I haven't actually.
You need to find a way, at least watch a couple episodes of it, because it sounds familiar to what you're running.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
But it's like their first wake up call was like a couple of ventures ago, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do this D&D hit and run thing," but now they're actually having to see the consequences of this, and now they're starting. I'm teaching them that every single minute, every single day matters. If you waste time, things go wrong. I let you guys have too much fun for too long. Now there's consequences. Whenever you're not doing something, the other guy is still doing something. So you sit around for a day making arrows. The other guy, it's that old. Oh, there's an old meme somewhere about for Skyrim. It's like I'm learning how to be a better blacksmith. The Draugr are training. I'm being a better merchant. The Draugr are training. So you walk out there, you hear massively beautiful armor, and suddenly there's this giant jacked freaking skeleton right waiting for you in that first. The deadly Draugr King is sitting here waiting in that first dungeon. You're like, I'm going to go walk into this dungeon now and sploosh, because you weren't ready for actual combat.
Sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun, honestly. I like hard campaigns. I appreciate even the one Jade was talking about earlier with the coin flip. I had to marshal how much supplies I have on me and how many rounds I get. And there's always that question as an archer is, hey, can you roll a couple D10s and let me know how many arrows I get back from the last battle? Because arrows are... Sometimes you get lucky and you can reuse an arrow. Most times you're not lucky, but sometimes you are.
A lot of players, on the other hand, are fire and forget, and then realize that, oh wait, as the fight draws on, how long? Like suddenly they're like going, maybe we could actually hire hirelings to carry more ammo. Maybe we should hire hirelings to do this. And I'm like, now you're starting to figure out why leadership, why having minions actually matters, rather than just simply, oh, we can handle it. I have a bag of holding. Have you guys forgotten that I have banned that item? There are no bags of holding anywhere.
Oh shit!
There are none. I hate how much of a bag of holding is a cheat item that allows you to bypass thinking about what you're carrying, and so therefore I'm on the mentality of, no, you're going to suffer. That's what it's going to come down to. You're going to suffer. And if you can't figure out how much your gear weighs, no.
I fully, after Jade broke me of a certain mindset I used to have, I fully respect the concept of recycling one's ammo if you can go get those arrows back. When it comes to guns, I mean, there was times where we had like a little bit of downtime. What's your character doing? I am breaking down broken swords so I can make new rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because, I made sure that everyone at the table is aware that the resources are going to be limited if you're traveling. Like, you can't just, make bullets literally anywhere all the time. You can't make them in the middle of combat. You just can't.
But I need
and
more
you don't have infinite ammo. I mean, yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, and you don't have unlimited ammo. We're not playing, the Hollywood 6 shooter here. I track your ammunition, as well as you tracking it. Like I mark off a little tick mark every time someone fires a piece of ammo from what I know to be their loot list, because I would ask for the character sheets, like, hey, let me see your character sheets. Let's get ready to play, and I would track that information. I'd even call people out because I don't I don't cheat my players. I don't want them to cheat me. I've had characters go, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull this 10-foot ladder out of my bag. Wait, what? Where the hell did you get a 10-foot ladder, and how did you shove it in your bag? Well, it's a standard item I can purchase. I'm gonna skill this wall with a 10-foot ladder. How you're walking around town with a 10-foot ladder? Like, who does that? Oh, I carry my ladder everywhere. No, you don't. I'm sorry. That's not acceptable in society. What
There's
the hell?
a study that happened in real life about maybe 10 or 15 years ago where these two guys dressed up like workers, like they were going to go do some work. They had their belts loaded with tools and they carried ladders and they went in everywhere and nobody challenged them. They were wearing like collared work shirts, regular blue jeans. They walked into like a Ruth Chris steakhouse. They walked into a movie theater. They walked everywhere and nobody fucked with them. Nobody was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing today? What are you working on today?" And they would go in not just at 8 o'clock in the morning, but like 3 in the afternoon or maybe 6 at night. If you carry a ladder somewhere with today's people, everybody has this mindset like, "Oh, look, it's just a maintenance technician." So I'm just laying that out there. That
But
people were giving them a pass. Oh, go take care of it. Guys went to the movies and watched a film. They had their tools. They put their ladder up to the side. Nobody said a word. Well, we have to wait till the movie's over before we can fix this item and the lights out. So we'll just wait right here. We'll watch it.
Oh, if you want to do the exact same trick as the ladder trick, and you want to do it in retail, just wear a polo shirt, some clean jeans, and carry a clipboard, and you can walk into pretty much any retail location ever in the back room, and they won't stop you. They'll think you're a vendor.
jeez, now it's not like you have a feather token of of a boat that you snap and beat people with in somebody's campaign.
Okay, that wasn't a Qual's feather token of boat. That was a boat of folding, and I was a improvised weapon master. So I had my weapon went tumbling because of a nat 1. So I'm like, the boat. Because that's all I had that could be considered a weapon on my person at the time. So
I think I think a mutual friend of ours is like, I don't know if you could do that. The rules. I'm like, dot dot dot. I'm like, it's okay, Robert.
A mutual friend of ours then says his name 3 seconds later. Okay, we're getting close to that time for wrap up. And as much as I do like hanging out with everybody here, especially the chat, I'm reading the chat while I'm flopping paint on here. I'm going to tell you that, guys, appreciate everybody being in here tonight. I want to talk about this because I think it's a topic that you do want to revisit, especially if you're an active GM, because it might be something that somebody wants to hear because they want to know how they can pull it off. And as much as we did get on tangents tonight, I do want you guys to be able to report back like, hey, we were running a game for we were going into Dragon Mountain, but on that note, we decided we would run as a party of kobolds, and we were getting trap equipment, and then headed back into the mountain before it teleported somewhere else in the multiverse. So, I think if you guys have an idea or you hear something out of our mouths and you put it in play, I'd love to hear about it. I really, God damn it, I want to hear that shit like that. I think anybody that if you get an idea from another GM and you put it to the test at your table and it works or it fails spectacularly, either way, take notes and get back to that person.
They'll be happy to hear it.
Yeah, like Kai, do you have anything going on this week, or are you're just barely able to make time for this, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, and that's sad, but man, I wish you the best of luck with that yard work. If I get to see you on Saturday, I consider myself blessed.
I'll be here if I can make it.
I'm not. If you're tired as hell after that and you lay down inadvertently, I just sat on the bed. I didn't realize I laid down. That's fine.
And then I woke up and it's dark out. That sounds like my life right now.
Yeah, I get it.
But I'll try.
Yeah. Fair enough. Jade, your week is pretty busy right now, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah. So won't expect a whole lot on your end. Connell, do you have any work that you're doing here as of late? I saw you're doing a stream with Shadow. Or
Yeah,
Shadow.
that's this coming this coming Sunday. Me and Shadow, and possibly Shadow and Sons, are doing a Sunday channel show where I believe we are talking about comic books over the last how many ever decades. So we're going to stick it. We're going to stay in the realm of nerdiness and geekiness and everything that includes. But we're going to be talking about comic books and things that it relates to. Of course, any of you guys have the extra time on this Sunday, you're more than welcome to jump in with your favorite comic book or whatever of that nature. I'd love to have you guys. If not, that's completely understand. That's my Sunday. I know Saturday I have your campaign, and hopefully I'll survive that. And Saturday night from 8 to about 2 o'clock in the morning, I have another campaign I'm in.
Cal, we've been trying to encourage him to run this extra stream right as Legion of Myth is signing off. He's entering the stream yards and getting everything ready for Shadow and Sun to panel up. So that would be the ideal way to do it because we kind of cannibalize off each other, and I don't want to really pull from other members. I don't want to pull from Biggest Geekus. I don't want to pull from Shauner. I want everybody to be able to get their views they're supposed to. If need be, I'll take a break. That's fine. I run 3 to 5 streams a week, and I'm getting ready to run another one just so I can finish my book that I wrote back in 2012. So that's the main thing on my plate right now. You guys should see me at a chill stream tomorrow night, slopping
there's that.
steampunk miniatures. What?
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, and there's that. I forget.
There is that. Yeah. And I don't know if things are going to stay level like this for a while, I'll be happy. I love the idea of having my friend from Illinois being able to join my game. I'll say that much. Right now, I'm having a blast. I got Shadow and Sun, Connell, and a few other people that I know that are just having a ball trying to kill off hobgoblins and giants. So we'll see how it all works. Baron G-Rock, we miss you, bud. Give the wifey a big hug. Black Barnes, Thurston Howe, Calvinani, Shadzar, everybody that was in chat tonight. We want to give you guys a big slam bang high five. Maybe grab yourself a miniature or two that you need for your shelf or for your upcoming game if you need to from the desk. If you want it painted, let me know. I'll be here. We'll look forward to seeing you and talking to you again once more Thursday night of next week. Thank you so much.
Yay!